There's a YouTube channel called the Zeroeth Folio of Shakespeare that posts nothing but weird Shakespearean quotes in a low, menacing voice. Somebody has been posting dozens of these videos for over a year now, despite most of them having only 5 views or less. I don't really understand what these videos could possibly mean individually or when put together. All I know is that it's almost like whoever is uploading these videos is on some kind of mysterious mission with a hidden purpose that I doubt is benign. Anyway, here's where things get really weird. The right side of these videos has always shown static for the past year, but at the end of their latest video, posted 4 months ago, the static suddenly clears and this scary event happens. I also noticed how the thumbnail for this video looks different than the others, further adding to the mystery. All of the other thumbnails show the same image of static, but this newest one clearly shows a strange looking man wearing what appears to be clothing from another time period. Take a look at the channel and let me know if you think this is just a clever gimmick, or some kind of nefarious creation loaded with hidden messages. Sophie Dossi is a talented contortionist with a twisted sense of humor, so to speak. Here she does a crab walk backwards at top speeds, with her head barely hanging above the floor. This is a really creative, ingenious way to scare people that I've never seen done before, but I can't help but think it's a little dangerous too. I mean, if she steps on her hair while walking like this, her neck could snap all the way back. Maybe I'm just exaggerating, but I think I see it almost happen multiple times as she races down the aisle, which adds a whole new level of fear to the overall situation. Exploring with Danny is back, this time at an abandoned building rumored to have strange lights and other happenings. Within minutes of entering, they hear a humming noise that briefly morphs into strange piano music coming from the basement. As they round a corner, they find candles are placed in a circle. A woman with a pale face and long black hair turns to them, but I'm not exactly buying it. I mean, her shoes kind of look normal to me, so this could just be a regular person dressed up. Still, the way she continues to chase after them makes me wonder if she's a crazy person, or if I'm wrong about her being a ghost completely. But skid or not, there really might be something lurking down there with them. Everyone is lurking at the corner on the left at the 7-minute mark, but what I want to know is what's up with the 2 different colored eyes in the back. Perhaps something was watching them this whole time. While this doesn't look like your classic unidentified flying object, it certainly is one. Published by Arte Morbid in April of 2022, this scary video captured something hovering over a street in Mexico City. Security camera footage shows a dark object floating down the center of the street about a foot above the pavement. While the uploader thought it was a mylar balloon at first, a closer look had him second guessing. He notes that it has a shadow and sometimes moves in a slight rotation. Some of the comments still think it's a mylar balloon or a drone. Others think it's CGI. One commenter says it looks like it's morphing in and out. Do you have any other theories? I think there's certainly something mysterious going on here. Ghosts love to play games. This playful ghost was caught in a short clip by Janeth Mendoza Ponce and posted on Facebook. Ponce writes, "My daughter playing outside Northside High School caught this video. Ghost or not, looks creepy to me. Since it was only them, 3 there, 2 running and 1 recording. If you look closely, the figure disappears before they run around the corner. The video shows 2 of the girls racing towards the opposite end of the school buildings. Then suddenly a 3rd figure appears, running perpendicular along the opposite building." As Ponce stated, the figure does seem to disappear before the girls arrive. If you watch closely, it does appear that something is behind there, and that's where the figure emerges. Many in the comments familiar with the area insist that the field house is haunted. Whether you take the skeptic's word for it or the believers, the shadow creature is here to stay. Dozens of fish are pouring out of this ice fishing hole, and no one has been able to figure out why. Listen to this part and try to translate what these 2 men are saying if you can. I think it might be Russian.
Вот так выбирает черт. Выбирает он. Дырку надо сделать, нахуй. Надо плавить, пока он сидит. Ну да, покажи, вот есть.
At first, I thought maybe they had used underwater blasts to stun the fish, but you can clearly see that the fish are still moving on their own and appear to be jumping through the hole through their own free will. I have no idea what could cause all these fish to rush to their doom, and from the sound of their nervous chatter, neither do these fishing experts. Maybe the fish are trying to escape a huge predator beneath the surface, or perhaps it is some kind of natural phenomenon beyond explanation. Found outside your house, which you have the courage to investigate. Redditor Ponce Flans uploaded a video clip of whatever was going on outside his home to Reddit. In the clip, it sounds like Ponce is opening his blinds, and outside you see nothing but darkness and a few streetlights, but nothing too disturbing. You can hear a faint murmuring, but it's only when he opens the window that you hear the strange howling reverberating nearby. The weird sing-song howl doesn't exactly sound human, but it's hard to pinpoint what it does sound like. It continues over and over again. As Ponce notes, it sounded at first like it was coming from right outside his house, but on second thought, maybe it's coming from below the bridge.
I thought it was coming from right outside my house, but it looks like it may be under the bridge.
At the end of the video, you hear what is very much a human voice screaming.
What?
Some say in the comments that it's telling whoever is howling to be quiet. Many commenters call this sound unsettling and disturbing, while others suggest that Ponce go see what it is. Soiled Sanchez seems to have the most likely explanation. It's a train with empty hopper cars, he writes. Bad wheels or wailing ghosts. I know I wouldn't want this sound waking me up at 3 a.m. A YouTuber named Advil thinks he is alone until he hears voices off in the distance. He soon finds himself drawn to the stairs leading down into the basement for reasons he cannot explain. Something just feels out of place down there, but he isn't sure what. He calls out and gets an incredibly strange and eerie reply from the darkness below. Maybe if you are wearing headphones, you can tell me what is being said here. It almost sounds like they are whispering, "He's here."
Hello?
Moments later, Advil receives an undeniable confirmation that something is in the house with him. A dark figure somehow stands out against the pitch black background as it crosses the doorway. It makes no attempt to go up the steps and reveal its true form. If this is real, then whatever is down there apparently wants to stay down there, and possibly one day take Advil with him. When these Canadian urban explorers entered an abandoned insane asylum, they were probably just looking for a bit of fun, but what they found was insane. Abid Ung published this video in August of 2016. Heading up the stairs of the asylum, they just started exploring the upper floor when, creeping across the linoleum of a distant room, appeared what only could be an inhabitant of the asylum, or the ghost of one who once was. On all fours, the figure comes into view in a doorway, its long dark hair hanging in front of its face like it's straight out of a horror movie. Of course, the crew doesn't stick around to investigate the matter. Instead, they hightail it out of that place as any sane person would. Wouldn't you have done the same if you'd come across this in an abandoned building? But maybe the better question is, what was that thing doing there in the first place? If you saw this on the horizon, you may think some serious stuff is going down. Posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by RavenTexX, the Redditor writes, "Is this recent? Looks real." The footage shows a dark and stormy scene with heavy clouds on the horizon, and in their midst a blinding beam of light. The light brightens and recedes more, but stays in the sky for quite some time before zapping out, leaving the night in total and utter darkness. While life forms outside of this planet could very well exist, some Redditors have other explanations. Greg the Chief writes, it could be a transformer. I worked as an electrician the past few years. I never saw something that size, but electric energy has more power than most people think. Since I'm not an electrician, I wouldn't know for sure, but that sounds like a pretty rational explanation. Susan Peyton 1 is enjoying some quality time with her family when she and her husband both notice something grab the attention of their infant toddler.
What am I doing?
The child's face changes from amusement to confusion as he apparently turns to watch something pass by. Then, moments later, an orb silently streaks overhead. Even stranger are the song lyrics playing in the background. Something appears to walk past the child and possibly exit the room just as the children's song announces, "Say bye-bye." Some friends practice soccer and talk about life when they cross paths with something that will change all of theirs forever. Caught on camera is what they claim to be a strange goblin creature clambering across the kitchen floor. Only one of them looks directly at it and he drops to the ground and covers his eyes like they burn. The creature, which barely comes up to waist level, runs out from behind this area behind the refrigerator. They lose sight of the goblin in a dark room, and the encounter is over, at least for now. These men tried all means to rid their friend of a demonic possession, published by Cacadores das Sombras, which translates to Shadow Hunters in April of 2021. The crew sets out on a mission to complete a satanic ritual. As the guys are driving down a dirt road in a rural area, they pass a guy walking on the side of the road. It turns out that it's their friend Lucas.
Oh, Lucas.
They slow to a stop shortly after, and the driver has his door open. Bad idea. Lucas lunges into the car at him and attempts to grab him. He seems possessed. They tie him up and throw him into their back seat. When they arrive at their destination, they find a pentagram with candles lit at all the points. They place the man into the middle of the pentagram and it seems he can't escape it. He is whipping around out of control but still lucid at times. They light one last candle on one of the pentagram's points. Lucas is later kneeling, growling, and bent forehead to the floor at the center of the pentagram.
Olha lá. Você vai sair dele ou não vai?
He appears in a fit of some sort. After a while, the man holding the camera loses his patience with the possessed man. It doesn't meet its mark. One of the crew calms the cameraman outside, and a ruckus is heard inside shortly after. They return to find Lucas lying sideways on the ground, still at the center of the pentagram.
Ô Marquinhos, sai daí, mano, sai daí.
Ele torceu, velho.
Quê?
Ele torceu assim a cabeça e gritou e caiu no chão, mano.
Ô Lucas.
Não fiz nada, mano.
What happened to him? Did the ritual work? Although he continued to remain still and silent at the end of the video, I hope he is free from his possession. A YouTuber named Herb Doggy is diving underwater when he sees a small cave that looks interesting. In less than a minute, he is being chased out by something that's not even human. A giant moray eel slithers out of its hiding hole and appears to chase Herb Doggy away, though I'm not entirely sure. I would like to know how territorial these creatures are, and if they really would chase someone away. I'd also really like to know if this was an electric eel or not, in which case I totally understand why Herb Doggy was in so much of a hurry to get out of there. 3 friends bravely choose to summon Bloody Mary, while one of their parents records. They recite her name 3 times in the mirror, and when nothing happens, they decide that the legend is a bust. The dad makes fun of them for a little bit, and they go on with their day.
I guess now we know that Mary Worth doesn't like you.
According to them, it wasn't until much later that they actually looked at the video and noticed some strange occurrences that made them upload it onto YouTube. Look at the countertop in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh, please, come on now. Well, what other ideas?
I don't know, other ideas of how to get her to jump out of the mirror at us.
Maybe it takes a little longer.
Like how long?
I don't know, like a couple minutes.
The candle appears to move by itself on at least 2 separate occasions. I guess it could have been magnets, but I really don't understand how. It's important to add that they were all picking the candles up to light them just a moment earlier, and nothing was hidden underneath. Give me your best guess as to how they moved these candles. Or better yet, tell me if you think it was Bloody Mary who was moving them. Can 2 separate security cameras glitch at once? Or is this The Matrix Revisited? Posted to the very spooky video subreddit, a woman in Colombia appears to have vanished, and her vanishing act was captured from 2 angles. From one angle, she is walking down the sidewalk. She pauses for a moment, then walks a bit more before suddenly zapping from view. A second video captures her at an angle from the front. Again, she walks forward before disappearing into thin air at the corner of the sidewalk. Did she just teleport to another dimension? Some in the comments think this was just CCTV taking photos every few seconds, which were sped up for viewing. That way the girl could have disappeared in the so-called vanishing act. Others think this girl obviously has the gift of invisibility. What do you think is going on here? Let me know in the comments. If you saw this on your home security camera, what would you think? According to Johnny Smither333, who posted the video to the Ghosts subreddit, the strange capture came from his living room's motion detection camera. Whatever this flash is had enough presence to set off the camera, but it's unclear what that blur might be. While many in the comments say it's a bug, others like SPM Wiggy offers more creative suggestions. She writes, "It's a tiny witch on a matchstick. Clearly you can see the hat and the giant witch nose." Another Redditor suggests that it could be gremlins. The Redditor says that in slow motion, it looks like it appeared out of thin air. He also notes that as soon as it gets closer to the camera, it doesn't look like any bug he's seen. Have you seen a bug that looks like this? I know that's likely the culprit in cases of videos like this, but I definitely agree, I've never seen a bug that looks like this before. Therefore, there's at least a reasonable chance this is truly paranormal. October of 2017 is when a Canadian YouTuber named Moosey started to experience supernatural problems in his home that were far from normal. Things like spirit sightings and hearing voices. Something is in his house with him, something he can't see and wants gone. One afternoon, Moosey is playing a PS4 game with his brother when the television starts acting up in a way that's been happening far too often lately.
And it's really weird, like, he's been telling me it's been happening all day.
Somebody could have simply turned it off with a remote. His brother Joe isn't holding the remote, but maybe Moosey is. I don't think it was either one of them though, because it looks like somebody unplugged the television, even though they were both across the room.
Guys, what the f? This is what I'm saying. Disconnected again. What's going on?
And when you look again at 4 minutes and 23 seconds, you might be able to see the faintest orb go by his wrist. Since this was made in October, I was thinking maybe this was a Halloween video or something like that, but Moosey's paranormal problems continued well into November. That's when it moved into his room. He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. There's just something preventing me.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, there are bags under his eyes that were not visible in the previous video from a week ago, so I see no reason not to believe what he says.
As tired as I get, you can see bags under my eyes because I get really tired at my house.
After days of no sleep, he now has a plan to cleanse the room. Moosey blends a special root with various household ingredients to make a powdery substance that is believed to keep spirits away. Interestingly enough, the sound on his camera cuts out and this orb appears just outside of his room, so perhaps there is some value in what he's about to do after all. I think it's interesting how the sound cuts off again here, almost like the spirits don't want to hear him finish what he has to say.
Demons, be gone.
Or it could have just been a technical problem uploading the video to YouTube. Anyway, after completing the exorcism, he waits until 3 a.m. before declaring everything is okay. He didn't wait long enough though. This is what happens 5 minutes after 3 a.m.
Free me from all this. Whoa, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, did you guys hear that?
I really wish he would have thrown open the door here, so we could have seen for ourselves what was on the other side. The fact that he waits for almost a full minute makes me wonder if this really was his nerves betraying him, or just stalling to give his friends time to get off camera. Nothing is in the other room, but if he wanted to prove beyond a doubt that his house was haunted, he should have swallowed his fear and opened the door a bit sooner. Easier said than done, I guess. Moosey did eventually move 2 years later. He and Hype Mike are giving a tour of their new house when it becomes apparent that his paranormal troubles are far from over.
Mike. Nick. Whoa!
The knocking comes from behind him, yet no one is at the door. However, in the mirror stands a small hooded figure, or maybe it's just the top of Hype Mike's hat. When they check the camera, the picture becomes garbled by what I suspect is paranormal energy from the same ghost as before. It's found their new address and it wants in. At 8 minutes and 27 seconds, they catch a glimpse of someone running up the stairs. Then they see it in a different monitor right outside of their door before the screen goes white. And that's when what happens in Moosey's old house at 3 a.m. repeats itself. The door somehow locks even though they're on the side with a lock on it. So that's either paranormal or just an oversight in their skit, but I was kind of let down when they show it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely refuse to believe that this person in an all-black spandex outfit is a ghost, so I'm not exactly buying this one, but it doesn't mean that the videos in his old house weren't real, or that this wasn't a crazy fan who got their address. This reportedly leaked video appears to be taken in a desert somewhere on the outskirts of civilization. Two scientists in full biohazard gear examine a colossal footprint that's been left behind by what appears to be some type of giant creature. I think this video is likely not real because there appears to only be one footprint and no others nearby. If there was a series of footprints stretching beyond the horizon, I would be more inclined to believe it's real. Otherwise, they could have easily dug a hole in the shape of a monstrous footprint. A YouTuber named Shannon Griffin recorded this short scene as part of an amateur film he was working on. One of his friends, Rachel, goes into the alley and the scene ends. It seems simple enough, but look at the bottom left for a weird surprise. The swaying shadow is not supposed to be part of the shot. Later, when Shannon was editing the footage, he was terrified by the strange discovery because nobody was standing off camera there. It's not a tree in the wind because these plants in the foreground don't move at all, while this shadow figure sways wildly. The only explanation I have, assuming that they are telling the truth to begin with, is maybe some nosy neighbor was watching them from a window and casts their shadow on the sidewalk below, but the way the shadow moves is so odd that I don't think this is it at all, so maybe it was paranormal. Have you ever woken up to the feeling that you're being watched? Posted to Twitter by San Bernardino PD in April of 2022. This Brazen Home intruder was captured on camera standing over the home's residents while they slept. A Wise camera in the resident's bedroom caught the thief lurking over them, creepily watching them. It looks as though the thief knows there's a security camera there. As he covers his face with a piece of cloth, he watches the residents sleeping. After watching the sleeping residents, he starts looking around for valuables. While many of these videos don't often have a satisfactory conclusion, this one does. The San Bernardino Police Department writes in the comments, "Due to outstanding police work from our officers and investigators, the suspect was identified and arrested. Thankfully, he won't be hovering over anyone else as they sleep anytime soon." Based out of the southern city of D'Armondville, Exploring Alabama is a YouTube channel that takes on the creepiest abandoned places in the entire state. One such video is an abandoned church that's in the early stages of decay. Inside is a mess but still structurally sound. Some rooms are too dark and creepy for him to willingly go into, so he mostly stays in the more well-lit areas and continues to explore until he gets his share of footage. As he's leaving, something compels him to take one last look in the main room, and that's when he records it. Some are calling this a mysterious creature, while others say this is only a stray cat and nothing more. It's too far away to tell for certain, but I think it's interesting and worth talking about. So what do you think? A paranormal researcher named Eduardo Haunter is exploring an abandoned hospital in the northern part of Mexico City. He gets pretty far and eventually sets up a camera in an old examination room, hoping to record some scary things on video. At 3 a.m. things get pretty weird. An old chair groans under the weight of an apparent ghost doctor sitting down. I don't think this was done with a string either. The top half of the chair moves while the wheels remain stationary. Or perhaps Eduardo simply put the wheels in a locked position first. I'm not sure what to believe. There's arguments for both explanations, so take one last look and help me decide. It's not unusual for a radiator to make noise, but imagine this noise coming from behind your radiator. The original upload of this video was deleted, but was luckily saved by other YouTubers. The creature who's been living behind his radiator starts to rattle it and makes a squeaking noise, prompting the camera to peer behind it into the darkness. After several minutes of peering and not seeing, the camera seems to focus in on something more distinguishable. An eye at the bottom of the radiator appears. It doesn't look like a mouse eye or the eye of any other small rodent, but rather the eye of a human-like creature. The sound of a monkey erupts. Watch it if you're brave, but be ready to jump. Officially shuttered since 1987, it was just announced in February that this century-old building will soon be demolished. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Ryan McCullister and originally published to a YouTube channel of the same name, this paranormal team is making one last visit to the old Three Rivers Hospital in Michigan. As they make their way through a doorway, a creepy baby voice is heard in the background.
Hey, blue cheese. Yeah, no.
Look at that smiley face down there.
That's crazy.
See if I can see it. There you go.
Ew, look at all how dirty the air is down here.
Many in the comments think it's not a baby but a cat. Others think it sounds like the lens focusing. But several Redditors agree that it sounds like a baby. Sparkling Duckling writes, "Those smiling graffiti faces. Artists tried to stop the ghost baby from crying, unsuccessfully. I think the biggest question now is what's going to happen to all these spirits after this building is demolished." The Humunculus is rumored to be an artificial type of creature that was first discovered sometime during the medieval ages by the way of alchemy. The recipe for this legend has since been lost, but some YouTubers have claimed to have rediscovered a way after doing some tinkering in their kitchen. The process used to create a Humunculus is kind of gross. You can look it up if you want, but all I will say is that it involves fertilizing a chicken egg using a syringe. Next, you seal the egg off in a plastic container and keep it warm by wrapping it up in a cloth. For some reason, you also have to keep the area very dark. Perhaps this has something to do with witchcraft. No one can touch or disturb the egg in the slightest. You can't even look at it. If you do, you will kill the Humunculus before it can hatch. After enough time has passed, about 10 days or so, you remove the egg from its container. The egg appears to have developed some sort of infection, but this could also be some normal part of the process. The YouTuber cracks open the disgusting egg, and this is what he finds laying inside.
Вот он наглядно виден, но это существо, конечно же, не может обладать какой-то высокоразвитой формой интеллекта. В лучшем случае это что-то на уровне амебы. Или там, может быть, медузы.
This tiny creature has no discernible features except for some long tendrils attached to a shriveled up central body. It looks like a chewed up white piece of gum, except it moves. Apparently, they are no smarter than a jellyfish. Maybe the ones from medieval times were more advanced. There's videos out there that tries to prove the Humunculus experiment is fake, but then again, maybe they didn't do it right. Maybe they didn't wait long enough or else made some noise. The process is reportedly very delicate and can take at least a couple tries to master. A YouTuber named Mark Johnson and his group are conducting a paranormal investigation in the Cave of the Winds, a supposedly haunted underground location in the Colorado wilderness. Apparently, whatever is down there with them lacks patience and will not wait until they're finished setting up equipment to begin.
Probably kick on the spirit box here in a minute.
None of them hear the noise until they review the tape, which I find strange because the camera picks it up so well. The sound was either truly paranormal or possibly just their equipment dragging across the ground. A short while later, they catch two orbs while walking, followed by this scream. I think this scream was probably a supernatural encounter because it happens in the middle of an otherwise regular conversation. But listen to this part and tell me what you believe. Finally, this bizarre, unseen light source magically flickers after Mark Johnson asks for spiritual confirmation.
Is there anybody in this part of the cave here with me?
What's weird is how the shimmering effect goes away when Mark shines his flashlight over the patch of land. There's really no reason for an object to suddenly stop reflecting light like that, especially when it was just reflecting light 2 seconds earlier. In my opinion, the reflection should have grown brighter when put in a direct beam of light, not go away completely, which makes me think all of this is real. This restaurant is thought to be haunted by numerous spirits, one being a former regular who goes by the name of Jack. Watch what happens on this paranormal equipment when you call Jack by his name.
If you can step in front of this, we'll be able to see you. If you can come over towards me. Jack, are you still here, honey? Right there.
He's here.
No, that was
okay.
Ryan.
It's not Ryan.
That was...
No, it wasn't me.
No, that was him.
Twice, a mysterious figure appears on their body mapping equipment, and as they are arguing about if the phantom image is real or not, the bartender says some words and Jack the ghost relaxes, leans back against the counter.
Okay, Jack, you can talk to them.
You won't get nothing over here.
Okay, Jack, you can talk to
Is that one?
Yeah.
That is one.
Yeah.
Nobody is in front of them, and yet a ghost sighting is caught on camera. The bartender addresses the spirits again, and a second ghost sighting unfolds.
Jack, please speak in that box.
Come, let's go, let's play.
Oh, there's another one.
even smaller.
Probably. It's hard to say. I mean, the kids are all over the place.
The server says that ghost kids are all over the place too, and as soon as she says those words, the smaller figure is gone. This just seems like far too much of a coincidence, not to be something paranormal caught on video. Here's a bit of universal advice that applies to everyone, no matter which country you're in. If you and your friends are thinking about exploring some creepy haunted abandoned places, just don't. It could save your life. This YouTuber went exploring these abandoned houses in Egypt and caught some scary stuff on camera that left him and his friends running for their lives. The group has a bad feeling and should have left early, but they keep exploring because no one wants the shame that comes with being the most scared. They're looking for a way into this house but never get the chance.
اختفى ولا ايه؟ بس يا جدعان كان هنا.
ادور عليه
They still can't believe what they are seeing, so they take one last final look. The figure is still there and they're still scared. When hiding in a field doesn't work, they decide to run deeper into the forest. Their plan works and they vow never to return to this area again, and for good reason. I don't know if there really was someone who they didn't know living in this place, or if it was just one of their friends. It's probably a skit though, because of how slow the person chasing them walks. A series of unfortunate events leads us to no answers in this video. The security footage was taken in September of 2015 at around 1 in the morning. The footage appears to be taken outside a shop after some heavy rain. Two men are standing outside, one on the pavement, one at the door. After a moment, something grabs the man standing on the pavement. Water is splashing around like the incident is happening in a puddle. The man falls to the ground and the other man near the door attempts to come to his aid, grabbing his arms. He is pushed back though and runs off toward the door to get help. The man continues to fend off the invisible force before being dragged out of sight. The man returns from inside, looking as though he's on the phone. He searches around for the man and walks toward the water. Then a large figure comes flying at him. It's not clear if it's the man returning to safety or something else. In slow motion, it looks like it's crawling on all fours. It chases the man inside, knocking the door on the way in. A moment later, a mysterious figure in a black cloak exits the building. What is happening here? Who grabbed that man? What gave chase into the building? And who is this cloaked figure? Unfortunately, we are left with no answers, only questions. Christopher passes by a mysterious figure that everyone in the car thinks is really weird.
WRC edition on Instagram. World Championships.
He's in the middle of the desert of an unnamed Arabic-speaking country and hasn't seen anyone in miles and miles. Christopher says he was worried this person might be stranded, but when he turns around to help, they were gone. Well, more like disappeared. That's really weird if they are telling the truth because there is nowhere to hide. They might be facing the camera and even reaching out to them at the 29-second mark. What do you think? I can't tell if this is a person or a ghost sighting. Are they asking for help? There are rumors of a small cult living on a forgotten side road somewhere by the Baltimore Turnpike just off Route 1. A YouTuber named Dragon Lafferty claims to know its exact location and has uploaded proof. It isn't long before him and his friends pass another vehicle, which turns around and starts tailgating them at high speeds.
Coming right up on us too. Ouch, ouch, yep. Yay, we're being chased.
The car continues to come at them down the winding road way too fast, alternating between high beams and total darkness all the while. Dragon Lafferty and his friends nervously play off the chase like it's no big deal, but I can tell that they are nervous. The cult member eventually disengages upon reaching the main road. Everyone is lucky to have made it out alive, but then they have a very bad idea.
I don't know what would happen if we stopped. People said they'd do it, but they never said, like, what happened.
Their last update was more than 8 years ago, so maybe they followed through with their plan and were never heard from again. This neighborhood in Land O'Lakes, Florida, was built on shaky ground, and now the earth is reclaiming the houses as its own. Within the course of 9 hours, this house is completely snapped in half and sinking into a swell of groundwater so deep that it engulfs a palm tree with ease.
Through the water, see how much water?
¿Y si lo pasa a nosotros?
Hours later, the sinkhole has easily quadrupled in size and is busy dismantling a second house. There is nothing that can be done as the foundation is ripped away. Here you can see how close this third pink house comes to being lost in the abyss. Only a small strip of land protects its corner from going under, but somehow it holds firm and the family is able to recover their belongings. Sadly, all of the remaining houses had to be condemned because even though they were spared this time, the sinkhole could randomly widen at any minute. It's a terrible situation, but perhaps most terrifying is that moments before their eventual collapse, you would never suspect that anything was wrong. All of the houses look structurally sound in these photos taken months prior. The yards and driveways look level, the telephone poles stand straight up without leaning, and the roads likewise look smooth and have little cracks. In other words, exactly like your neighborhood probably looks right now. A member of the Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration Team goes to a church that he believes has been taken over by a great evil. Watch this part and tell me if he kicks something nearby or not.
Last time was... Oh.
About 3 minutes later, he hears this noise coming from somewhere outside. It doesn't sound like an animal, and it certainly doesn't sound like a person. So is this a ghost? Outside, all of the lights are now on, when hardly any were before. Supernatural or just a timer. And one last thing, while walking around the perimeter, he chances upon this creature staring back at him through the window with red eyes. But since another red light is caught in the very next window over, I think it could just be the reflection of brakes from nearby traffic. When you happen upon a cave carved into a mountainside, you might want to think twice before entering. Published to YouTube by the Highway 9 in September of 2017, this video serves as a warning to never ever go caving alone. The footage takes you through a deep and dark rock-hewn cave. Along the way, bats are seen hanging from the ceiling, and a long black centipede-like insect is climbing the walls. But the creepiest part is yet to come. As the YouTuber rounds a corner, he senses something deeper in the tunnel. He presses on, peering into the darkness, and seems to see a figure beyond. Highway writes, "I'm not sure what I saw, but it scared the wits out of me." Needless to say, he fled the scene as anyone would. YouTuber LeeStat444 writes in the comments, "This is what happens when you enter a cave full of bats, dusts, and insects. You find Batman." Whether this unfortunate explorer found that or something much more nefarious is anybody's guess, but I'm gonna err on the side of the second choice. You may think you're alone, but are you really? Posted to TikTok by Tayasha, this one is bound to give you the heebie-jeebies. On what looks to be a stormy night, the TikToker is walking around an abandoned building when she spots this in the window. The dark-haired figure appears ghoulish, staring out at the passerby. What do you think this mystery figure wants, and who is it waiting for? This has either gotta be the paranormal or a very elaborate hoax. There's simply no in-between. A kid is reading something off a website when his friend says something that makes him pause. Tell me what is being said here if you can.
Una bomba que puede explotar en cualquier momento.
A wild face at the window sends him sprawling backwards in his chair with fright. There's no playing that scream off. He was seriously afraid for his life. He must not have seen the camera hidden in his friend's lap, and he never expected one of his other friends to jump at him from the window with a crazy look in his eye. But at least he saves a little bit of face by regaining his composure quickly and laughing along with them. Still, nevertheless, having someone peeking through your bedroom window is certainly a nightmare. A YouTuber named Lanzo has a haunted ranch that he is afraid to visit. He knows at least one of the buildings is haunted because his uncle told him about a full conversation that he had with a strange man who said that he was a demon, and then promptly and mysteriously disappeared right in front of him on the spot. Ever since then, the 1-acre property has been overrun with paranormal activity.
Just from that day and now on, it's always been like creepy for me and my cousins to come here at night. That I heard something that was scared.
Do you guys hear that? Do you guys hear that?
He hears scary whispering voices haunting the woods nearby and quickly shakes the thought away. But I think I might have heard the whispering voices too, followed by other scary noises that may or may not have been the wind. It's 3 a.m. and as they approach, they can feel the paranormal energy feeding off of their fear. Their equipment refuses to focus on one paranormal hotspot, and they know it's because a ghost is haunting them.
Right there.
What the you guys?
And I'm gonna impact.
Their night vision and motion tracking paranormal equipment detect a super tall figure standing in the same place they felt was haunted, and it's making the dogs bark like crazy too. The animals are familiar with Lanzo, so I think these pets are having a ghost sighting of their own.
There's literally a figure right there.
The dogs aren't even facing them, further evidence that something paranormal has their interest.
Something's clearly back there.
And even the horse seems to freak out as well. I feel sorry for all of the terrifying encounters that these poor animals probably have on a regular basis living on this haunted ranch. The horse begins moving frantically at 6 minutes and 58 seconds, and then they detect a ghost trying to climb some firewood to hitch a ride. The panicking animal sways back and forth to get away from the apparition, but to no avail. I don't know if this horse is freaking out over a ghost sighting, or if it's just asking them for some food. This is a 3 a.m. video though, so I don't think the horse should be hungry.
We noticed that there was a figure that was dancing with the horse like next to it. Like literally right there, you guys. Like I'm getting the chills. I'm terrified right now.
Behind this gate is where the dogs were barking at something, and that's when they get really scared because their paranormal equipment goes off again.
I literally can't feel my feet, like.
It's starting to detect something.
Dude.
They need to go around the building to see what's on the other side of the gate, but they hardly get a few steps before their camera goes out of focus.
Over here.
And in the woods, they hear a really weird voice, like laughter. When they consult their paranormal equipment for a translation, it interprets only one word.
If there's anyone here with us, give us a sign.
Goodbye.
Oh my God, no.
And it utters this phrase. A single ghost orb flies into them. I wouldn't be surprised if this ranch was haunted by skinwalkers after all. Skinwalkers are paranormal tricksters who will often haunt ranches built on ancient prairie lands. So with this in mind, a ghost sighting on this ranch would make sense. According to YouTuber Zeroeth Supernatural Studio, a gambler lived in this place. He lost all the land in a bet and then chose to take his own life. Let's see if his presence remains. The ghost hunter quickly gets a reading.
黄色，不稳定。黄色，我跳到红色。好 ，OK， 那这个地方怎么废弃的？我现在就来告诉大家。
Inside, his meter spikes.
来镜子前面测测看磁场吧。哦，镜子这边红的耶。而且某方面来讲，这样的镜子会不会形成一个通道？
The spike occurs right next to a mirror. Could this be a portal into another world? As he continues to search, he hears a voice.
客家八音哎。小孩子的声音。
Here it is again with the infrared on. He asks the spirit to touch a paranormal device.
我请教一下，就是那他的父母亲的灵体还在这个地方吗？如果还在的话，摸一下好吗？谢谢。
It seems to me that the spirit is here, but what the spirit's intentions are remains a mystery. This video was reportedly taken by a Navy patrol boat off the coast of Chile in South America. What appears to be a gigantic, slow-moving UFO is soon confirmed by both the Navy and a nearby air traffic control tower to not be one of their own. I was thinking maybe this was an ordinary blimp or a helicopter, until it emits some kind of inky mystery substance at the 8-minute 18-second mark. The camera cuts away for a bit, and then approximately 5 seconds later you can see the substance has solidified into a thick, clumpy mass. As if that isn't weird enough, the UFO then detaches itself from the mass, which hangs completely suspended in midair and keeps on going until it's no longer in sight. I have certainly never seen an aircraft do that before, and it doesn't look normal at all. If this is not edited, then I have little doubt that this visitor is from another planet entirely. A YouTuber named El Indocente is making a tutorial about how to repair a corroded window in his home. First, he puts special tape over it and hits it with some kind of industrial cleaning agent. Next, he removes the tape and applies more cleaner to get it sparkling like new. But here's a step he never expected to see: the ghostly image of his father unexplainably looking back at him. El Indocente swears that this is real and has no idea how his father's likeness is imprinted on the glass. I suspect that there is a way to transfer photographs onto glass that I'm not aware of. Let me know if this is some kind of special technique he's using, or if that's really a ghost in the window like he says. In the woods near Crybaby Bridge, this paranormal crew asks the spirit if he likes their company, and the spirit answers. Published by Hauntings of Ohio in February of 2020, the scary paranormal communication was captured on video. The video shows the crew communicating through a spirit box. After posting the video, this is the answer they receive.
Do you like our company?
What the?
The guys say this is one of the clearest and most demonic voices they've ever caught on camera. Terrifying though it is, at least the answer was yes.
Do you like our company?
What the? Dude!
That was crystal clear, dude.
Yes.
A lot of scary ghost sightings involve a doorway or a window. They always seem to be haunting a passageway leading into the house. At 31 seconds, a pale apparition leans in to peek through the doorway of this building. Then the mysterious figure is gone, disappeared. I couldn't find anything to explain what was moving in the door. The ghost hunter later explains. After doing some more research, he says this haunted place is home to voices of children laughing and playing, stories that further creep him out. This building was a funeral home before the haunted place was abandoned. The cameraman is too scared to get near the haunted place, let alone go exploring, but a possible long-distance ghost sighting leaves him freaked out. I agree, there is something in the doorway. Whether it's a ghost or not is hard to say from here, but something is there and that's pretty weird. A YouTuber named Connor Does Adventure goes exploring a sewer tunnel that's been abandoned in the middle of the desert. They're kind of nervous but also in the mood to see something crazy. Little do they know what horrors are about to get caught on camera. It's a long walk to get to the old pipe and they keep stopping because they think they hear something.
It's funny. Know why you're scaring us?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Okay, it's not funny.
That sounds like it could be a frog to me, but maybe not based on what they see next.
What? Dude.
Okay. We're on. Dude, we gotta go!
An extra creepy creature slowly stands upright in a strange pose that looks vaguely human.
Dude. Stupid, why would you stand? We gotta go, we gotta go!
It chases them for a while on all fours and then marches straight towards them.
Okay, come on. He's coming. Dude, he's coming.
This is beyond creepy, but it's probably one of their friends in an outfit.
Dude, do you think he can get past these gates right here?
Oh, yeah, dude, look, there's an entrance right there. That's how we... Oh, shoot. Ready? Go! Oh my gosh!
After all, stopping a second time to turn around and record some more doesn't seem realistic. I think most people would be out of there and never look back. A creepy dark road in India looks like the perfect place for a paranormal dashcam video, but not everything has to be a ghost encounter. I would gladly welcome an old-fashioned ghost sighting compared to what they've just caught on camera. Anyway, this still image taken at 29 seconds says it all. The jungle cat is fully outstretched and trying to make a meal of them. This looks like a well-practiced move that might have worked in the past. Oh yeah, and the person recording should have definitely alerted the moped instead of letting them blindly pass into harm's way.
Oh my, look at him.
This is a really humorous and random situation, but let's face it, if a wild seabird were to land on you, I don't think many of us would be able to take it with a smile like this brave cameraman does. He makes no sudden movements, not wanting to attract the bird's hungry gaze or its beak to his fingers. Believe it or not, I looked up pelican-human encounters and found out that the sides of its beak are razor sharp, so this situation could have actually gone wrong quick. I don't know whether this pelican wanted to take some of his fingers or take a rest, but it seems to realize it's outnumbered and takes off. A YouTuber named RFam is doing a gym vlog when their punching bag begins moving on its own. Slowly at first, but gaining momentum over time. So even if she pushed it herself, it should slow down over time and eventually settle down. But that's not what happens at all. She dances for almost 10 minutes and the punching bag sways back and forth the entire time. What I can't understand is how she dances so close and doesn't notice the whole time. I guess she must have really been into her routine. There's no strings attached to the piece of equipment, and aside from this explanation, I can't think of any other way she could have faked it. This medicine ball also starts moving in the exact same way with no one touching it, at least no one that I can see, and no shadows on the wall to indicate someone off camera. Again, I can't believe she walks right by, but I suppose she simply feels comfortable at home and isn't exactly looking for anything out of the ordinary. While on duty at a hospital one night, a security guard noticed something alarming on CCTV footage at around 11 p.m. Let's take a look. The mysterious ball of fire is later seen returning from the other end of the hall. The security officer notes that senior officers said this phenomenon is unexplained, but not uncommon. Many attest to having seen a child spirit, as well as the apparition of a young woman wandering the grounds of this place. Is this one of their souls? I'd like to believe it is, but we can't rule out your run-of-the-mill bug anomaly either. Weigh in with your opinion in the comments. An Urbex YouTuber called RNK All Day is exploring a creepy building that used to be a funeral home before it was abandoned. The funeral home is not haunted per se, at least not from what I can tell, but what they find is every bit as scary as any ghost video you'll ever watch. You see, a long time ago, this North Carolina establishment was shut down because of improper business operations. People were not notified about their loved ones in a timely fashion, and the remains were often not stored properly at all. As RNK All Day explores the abandoned building, he finds evidence of their misdeeds laying out in the open. Sitting in a battered cupboard box on an old altar is a discarded plastic bag full of what appears to be ashes. There's no way to tell if these are the ashes of someone until you look at the box. That definitely says cremation services. If this is what we think it is, which I think it almost definitely is, then they should be properly placed in an urn, not out in the open like this. And if there are more items like this lying around, then maybe this building is haunted after all. 3 friends on a YouTube channel called W2S decide to invent a game that they will all soon regret. All you have to do to win is kick a soccer goal from a rooftop pass. After nearly breaking a window and denting a car, they decide to try the game one last time. When they go to throw the ball to the guy on the rooftop, however, things don't go so well. Their friend misses the ball and tumbles all the way down from the roof to the ground. The only thing that breaks his fall is the roof of a car, which he heavily before slamming into the gravel below. He is somehow miraculously fine. This could have easily resulted in something much worse. A YouTuber named Dan Baines is the keeper of Mr. Fritz, a ventriloquist dummy that was once used to entertain the troops during the 1940s. He's very old and has since fallen apart to the point where all that remains is his disembodied head. Mr. Fritz is believed to be possessed by the spirit of his creator, a man who lost his life in battle and refuses to rest in peace. Lately, Dan has been seeing and hearing things all around the antique, so he sets up a camera to record. It's 3:30 in the morning when the glass door pops open. I don't see a string. Do you? This happens again at around the same time the next night, except this time his eyes open. String or no string, watch this part and tell me how a wooden ventriloquist dummy can open its eyes with no one nearby. And if you zoom in for a closer look, you'll see 2 orbs race by shortly after the case opens. I'm not saying that this video is impossible to fake, but unless this is an electronic prop that is being controlled with a remote, then I don't see how it can be done. Nothing like a good legend to call up some creepy videos. Posted by YouTuber Leonardo Martinez in January of 2016. The video is entitled El Pombero and El Dorado, Misones Real. What is El Pombero? According to Latin American legend, the mythological gnome-like figure is rife in the Paraguayan forest, but can be found across southern Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. Pombero is mainly seen at night in rural areas and forests. Holding up in sheds and abandoned structures, he likes to mimic bird sounds, and the inexplicable chirping of birds is said to indicate that Pombero is near. If anyone so much as speaks Pombero's name out loud, he will harass them. Now that you know the myth, let's take a look at this video, which claims to have caught live-action footage of the creature. Filmed in the forest, a group of folks are wandering through the trees when, off to the side, something that looks like a short stump starts to move. The figure hobbles in an uncanny way, leaning on a crutch. Needless to say, the people rush off in fear. It certainly looks jarring and uncannily real. If you live in Paraguay, I guess it's time to hide. You don't want to cross paths with this mischief maker. YouTube team Ozark Paranormal Project sets up a stationary camera in this haunted room. While the group is all hanging out in the hallway, notice that their shadows cast from a light in the next room to the upper wall.
I walked in over there. Had a heart attack.
Stand in the corner and pray with me.
But later, when no one's there, strange lights are cast on the room's walls. What was that? Watch above the open door. It almost looks like fairy dust. It doesn't appear the same as the other light sources falling in the room, but is it paranormal? I think it's more likely a camera glitch of some kind, but I've never seen one so bizarre. This strange knocking happens at the same time every night and no other times during the day.
2:30 in the morning.
This is definitely no animal. Whoever is knocking wants to make its presence known and apparently wants to get in now, immediately. I can also hear a strange paranormal voice before they knock during this part. I don't think it's the television because you don't hear it during any other part of the video. He shows us the outside of the trailer, and clearly nothing is out of the ordinary. Yet when he returns indoors, so does the knocking from outside.
5 minutes has been doing it.
Hopefully whatever this is never gets the idea to try the door. It's not often you see two trains so close on the same track, occurring near Smith Falls in Ontario, Canada in 1992. The footage shows a passenger train that needed to hit the emergency brakes while en route to Toronto. The passenger train appears to be traveling at a fairly fast speed when a stationary freight train comes into view down the track. As the commuter has little time to slow, the engineer stumbles out of the locomotive cab. In the meantime, the freighter backs up slowly while the commuter train has managed to brake hard enough to come to a complete stop right in the nick of time. The approach left no more than 6 feet between the locomotives, a close call that makes little to no sense as to why or how it happened. The last place you want to hear screaming is in a cemetery, in the darkness of night. That's what YouTuber Thrills heard when he was visiting Fox Island Cemetery, which is said to be haunted by a man in black. As they first enter the cemetery, they hear an unexplained hissing noise.
I will say the other camera is a lot easier to hold.
What the heck is that?
It's not, yeah, not, I hear that too.
And soon the screaming starts.
Did you hear it again?
Yeah, I just heard it.
After moving along, they hear the screaming a second time.
What's this way too? I definitely just heard something, yeah.
And then a third directly after.
I definitely just heard something, yeah.
While this might be a wild animal or someone just hollering for the fun of it, it could also be the legendary Man in Black. I think he might just be toying with them. There's a YouTuber named Anonymous Web who's developed a scary habit, the need to buy scary things off of the deep web. His channel has only been around for a few months, and already he's gotten himself into more trouble than he was expecting, but more on that in a second. First, let's go over some of his most recent buys. On March 7th, 2020, a deep web package arrives after a 3-week wait. Anonymous Web had already given up hope that he would ever get it, and figured he had been ripped off. Seeing it in person fills him with unexplainable dread before he even opens it because he had ordered it from a website about witchcraft and demonology. Inside is a colorful doll with a dark message. Pins are stuck in its feet, face, and forehead. A yellow page appears to be instructions to do some sort of ritual. Here are the steps. First, he sprinkles some kind of black ash around the doll in a circle. Tell me if this looks like someone's cremated remains. Next, he puts the candles on both sides of the doll. The lighter that came in the box doesn't work, so he gets up to find another one. And at 17 minutes and 35 seconds, something happens. The doll appears to move ever so slightly. If this was someone's remains, then maybe he transferred their life into the doll. Anonymous Web doesn't think much of it until he gets another potentially possessed dark web doll on May 16th, 2020. He buys the box from the same person, which doesn't make sense if he thinks the first one didn't work. But maybe he saw the part where it moved and bought one more. The doll has a male symbol on its forehead, to the right of which is a triangle, perhaps an all-seeing pyramid eye, with black spikes pushed through. Holes are drilled in the mouth to form a wicked smile. A burnt letter is soaked in something. It reads, "In night I seek, in dark I breathe, and if you say its name twice, the curse is said to end your life." Its name is Ken Ken. You're only supposed to say it twice, but Anonymous Web says it 3 times just to be sure.
Ken, 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 Ken.
A big mistake he later regrets. It looks like he uses one of the candles to set the doll's dress aflame. You can hear him pick up a candle and slam it down really fast. But look again, there's no candle where his free hand is. He even puts paper down where the candle would theoretically have to be. There are only 2 candles within reach, these 2, and he clearly doesn't touch either of them when the doll goes up in flames. The reason why I've shown you these 2 videos is to better explain the third. On June 2nd, 2020, exactly 13 days after releasing the curse of the previous doll, something began rummaging around his bedroom from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. It starts around his dresser. Then it moves to the far wall. After pulling on the doorknob with all its strength, it sounds exhausted afterwards and can't get free. After a long time, it returns to stomp across the room. And later that night, it gets out. So this would be terrifying if it was real, but I'm not sure if it's fake. I think he could have been standing behind the dresser and pushed the flowers over himself. Likewise, he could have reached around and opened the drawers himself. The footsteps and exhale would have been his own. He could have touched the bed himself off camera to make it squeak, but I don't know how he moved the picture. That's really strange. And then there's the very end when he comes back into the room and sees his room is messed up.
Yeah, f*** you.
Someone could have shut off the camera from the bottom, but at 2 minutes and 7 seconds you can see the entire doorway immediately after it happens, and no one is there. You're never alone on an amusement park ride. This phantom will make sure of it. Published to YouTube by Eli Zix in September 2015. The following footage will have you looking twice. The clip shows 3 women and a man riding the pirate ship at an amusement park, swinging back and forth. At the beginning of the clip, there are clearly 3 women there, but as the video ends, the 3rd woman on the end has completely vanished. Where did she go? Did she fall off the ride? Disappear somehow? Or was she ever really there at all? Some in the comments claim that this girl passed away on this ride 2 years prior to when this video was filmed. This is all hearsay, but who knows? The truth has to be out there somewhere. 2 friends are creeping around a forest in Granada, Spain when they stumble upon something they were never meant to see. The humanoid is likely hunched over its prey as the 2 approach. They accidentally make a noise and the humanoid's keen ears detect them instantly. It looks up from his meal, ready to attack. You can see that this creature is thin and bony. It looks skinny and sunken in, fast, with a high metabolism. Its reaction time seems way too quick for any ordinary person. If you've ever had an attic, then you know what it's like to hear any kind of sound emanating from above. Absolutely freaking terrifying. YouTuber Sean Wells 2001 seems to agree, as he decided to investigate the rattling in his attic, which he says only happens at night. Sean writes, Steven, my roommate, says it's the wind because I leave my windows cracked at night for fresh air, but not sure if it's the wind. Sean set up his camera in his closet atop a pile of jeans to catch the rattling while he slept. This is what happened. At around 4 a.m., the attic door starts rattling jarringly. It sounds like someone is trying to get out. You can actually see the door move aggressively and repeatedly. A while later, it happens again, and Sean notes that you can hear his dog whining in the background. Many in the comments think the source of the noise has got to be paranormal. Others consider that it might be a squatter trying to mess with the homeowners. Though different theories abound, most can agree on one thing: it's not the wind. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.